Thanks for listening to the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry, here to help educate, motivate, and put you on the right path to take control of your health through weekly discussions on topics in the medical field, public health arena, and in your community. And now your host, Dr. Barry.
And welcome to another edition of the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry. I'm your host, yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, your favorite board-certified internist, bringing you the number one podcast for patient advocacy and helping you empower yourself for better health. Today we're bringing you episode 92, which seems crazy to me that we're this close. Like I can see episode 100 in the distance, and we're right there. Of course, like always, if you want my show notes, head over to lunchlearnpod.com or drpiersblog.com/LLP092, and you'll be able to get today's show notes. This episode, we are going to be following up last week's episode where we talked about New Year's resolutions, and we're actually going to be talking about a listener question that I got. And I think it's an important one because I think it was something that I even took for granted when I kind of did my last episode. And I think it's important to really kind of put it out there. So the listener says, hey, Dr. Barry, obviously I know you are pretty in tune with what the patient needs regarding their health concerns and how to get to the best of their ability. But why would a physician be the best person to talk to, right? And it took me back for a little bit because here I was thinking why wouldn't a physician be the best person to talk to? But you know what? They made some valid points, and we're going to talk about it on today's episode. So sit back, get ready for another amazing episode here with yours truly, Dr. Barry. This episode is brought to you by the Lunch and Learn Community Store, where we are living out the motto, empower yourself for better health. In the Lunch and Learn Community Store, you can get your favorite t-shirts, ebooks, as well as other related products by Dr. Barry. Head over to shop.drpiersblog.com and get a chance to get 10% off your first purchase by using the coupon code EMPOWER10. Again, shop.drpiersblog.com. Live out the motto, empower yourself for better health. All right, so last week when we talked about New Year's resolutions, we talked about getting in the mindset and starting right now. And a lot of people took to it. A lot of people were kind of hyped. A lot of people were ready. But I had one of my Lunch and Learn community members actually ask me, well, Dr. Barry, Dr. Pierre, I'm not even sure if a physician is the first person I would even go to when I'm thinking about getting healthy, when I'm thinking about bettering myself. Now, if I wanted some medications to lose some weight, I'm pretty sure a physician would be the person I need to go to because they have to prescribe the medications. But besides that, why would I go and see a physician? And honestly, I tell you, at first I was kind of shocked because here I am. I've always kind of been gung-ho, get better, get healthy, but she was absolutely correct because I know I'm probably a part of the minority. I know that being healthy, educating the patients is not something that gets done on a regular basis, unfortunately. And because it's not something that's done on a regular basis, maybe a lot of you guys as physicians aren't the people you would necessarily go to first when you're getting ready to get healthy, when you're saying, hey, you know what? I got this New Year's resolution. I want to lose some weight. I want to eat better. I want to diet more. I want to sleep more. I want to do these things. Maybe a physician, unfortunately, is not the best place to go to in some circumstances. So I took her question and I said, you know what? I think it's valid. So I started to look back and say, you know what? Why should I go to see my doctor, right? Why should I go see this physician if they are not the first person I would go to, right? So if my eyes, right, I'm taking myself out of the doctor's hat. In my position, if a physician isn't the first person I'm going to, well, then who should I go to? And again, this was some of the questions we were going through back and forth, and she listed some great professions. She said, what about a dietitian? What about a nutritionist? And I even had to do some education because a lot of times people use those terms interchangeably, like your nutrition and dietitian are the same person, when it actually isn't. And, in fact, we'll take a quick second to kind of do a quick little education for your nutritionist. This is a person who, is pretty well read and knows enough about nutrition to be able to speak on it pretty confidently. But your dietitian, especially your registered dietitian, they have to do some things. Like, they have to be not only kind of registered in the state, so they have a lot more restrictions and regulations based on their license. They have to get a bachelor's degree. They got to take a lot of these science-related courses. So it isn't a walk in the park to say you're a registered dietitian. And unfortunately, when you're thinking about the nutritionist, you can call yourself a nutritionist, and there really isn't any, laws and rules out there saying, hey, stop calling yourself a nutritionist. Same thing like if you wanted to call yourself a physician. There's some laws, there's some rules, there's some things that you have to be done before you can just prop up a building and say, hey, I'm a physician. So we both did a little bit of learning on that. But, she named some dietitians, she named nutritionists. She even said, what about my personal trainer? What about a physical therapist? If I wanted to exercise and, get more fit, again, why would I go to see the physician? And the physician has no clue what exercises I should do. She even mentioned people who kind of went through the process, right? Like, imagine a person who has gone through the process of losing weight. They've lost 20 pounds, they lost 40 pounds, they lost 60 pounds. They would be right in the driver's seat of the type of people who could tell you, hey, this is what you should do, and this is what you shouldn't do, right? And you're going to likely be more apt to listen to that type of person versus listen to your physician who hasn't gone through the same struggle that you had to gone through. So we talked about dietitian, we talked about nutritionists, we even said physical therapists, personal trainers. We talked about people who have had to gone through the transformation. And then she started just mentioning blogs and podcasts and different videos, all of these different sources that she said, I would rather go to that source before I go to my physician. And it's not like I have a bad physician. I just know my physician doesn't know much more than those sources. And I understood, the light bulb came and I understood exactly what she was saying. She was saying, Dr. Pierre, yes, I understand that physicians go to school and they do all this this learning. And yes, they would be the first person I should go to when I'm ready to get healthy. But if I'm looking for advice, I can't get that advice in 10 to 15 minute appointment and then they ship me out the door, right? Like, that's not the type of advice I need. I'm going to need more concrete talking. I'm going to need more detailed discussion. And unfortunately, I don't think I can get that from my physician. And even if I could get that from my physician, I don't know if my physician is really adequately trained enough to do so. So as I took the remarks and digested it and, came to grips that maybe a physician universally isn't the number one person you should go to, I did and was able to convince her that within the process, it is someone you should see, right? It is someone that you should kind of touch base on and say, hey, this is what I plan to do. And these are the people I plan to see with it. So at least you can get some type of guidance, if not from a direct correspondence, but maybe just more of a supervisory type role. Like, okay. And again, like for those who have signed up for any gym related program, one of the first things they tell you to do is make sure your physician clears you, or your physician is aware of all the stuff that you're going to do, right? Because again, they're personal trainers, the physical therapists, right? Like, they know how to train you, but they don't know your medical background like your physician may know, right? Like, they don't know you have heart disease. You may not tell them you have heart disease, and they may put you through strenuous activity that your physician is like, no, if I were you, I would not do so. But I will say that there is hope, even in this world of the internet, where information is, at the touch of a few keystrokes. There is help to show that physicians are trying, right? Physicians are attempting to get better at having these discussions with their patients. You have physicians who are in different fields trying to make sure you're as healthy as possible. I have a colleague of mine, Dr. Lauren Powell, who actually just released a cookbook. And she is a medicine trained physician, but she's also trained in culinary medicine, right? So she is not only just trained as a, licensed physician, right? Board certified licensed physician, but she took the extra step and said, "Hey, I want to make sure my patients are healthy. I want to make sure my patients are eating healthier, right? So I'm going to go into this additional line of training and get this additional education in my armamentarium so I can reach out and educate and touch my patients in ways that I may not be able to do with just my medical degree." And in fact, she actually just released a book. I will put the link to her book in today's show notes as well. You have physicians who have now put a focus on obesity medicine, right? Like that's their niche, that's their thing. So again, you have physicians who are board certified physicians and then say, you know what, I need to do another board certification because I want to know all I need to know about obesity related medicine and how to treat obesity. And not in just the here, take this medication, but in a very holistic view. So it definitely you have a lot of physicians who are breaking out and saying, I need to do more. They're recognizing I need to do more, and they're doing it. Yeah, maybe not as much as personal trainers and physical therapists and dietitians that you can see out here, but I can tell you we are coming. I have some physician colleagues who have a keen focus on nutrition and natural supplementation. So you have these physicians who they're board certified, but they're board certified in natural medicine and supplements and trying to help you better your livelihood and get healthier and live longer with natural supplements that are out there, right? Because I do have a lot of patients, I'll be honest. I have a lot of patients who do not like dealing with these controlled, quote unquote, prescription medication, right? Most of my patients call anything that I have to write for them and that they go pick up at a pharmacy like a controlled medication when it's not. But from a semantic standpoint, if they feel that they need a doctor to say, hey, you can take this medication, i.e. write a prescription, then they don't trust it. Again, it's so funny. I actually have some patients who are more compliant on their natural supplement medications than patients I may prescribe to them from an outpatient basis. Just to give me an idea of where they're at in that regards. So kind of going back to my listener's original question. Like, who is the right person to talk to about getting healthy? I don't think there is one answer. I think it's a team approach. I don't think you can go it alone just focusing on the personal trainer, right? Because again, yes, the personal trainer can teach you how to exercise, but they may not be as proficient in teaching you how to eat, right? And yes, that physician may have this training in internal medicine, family medicine, whatever, but they may not know the best natural supplements to take. They may not know the vitamins that you need. They may not be as adequately trained in all of the other holistic approaches that are associated with getting you healthier. So I don't think there is a one size fits all answer when the question fits who should you go to? Like, who is the right person to get me healthier? I think the answer is a combined effort. You may need to see a physician, right? Which, in fact, I think you should all see a physician. I think physician should be, if you have to see two people, one of them should be a physician. But, it may be a combination of a physician, maybe a combination of the physical therapist, the personal trainer, that person whose blog you're reading, that person's podcast you're listening to, right? It may be a combination of all of these things. And once you kind of recognize that it's the combination of these principles and these professions that are going to help me conquer 2019, I think the sooner the better. So that's it for today's podcast. Again, I think it was inspiring because, again, she hit me with a question I wasn't prepared for, but as a physician, if you're not learning, you're in trouble. Like, I learn every day, and I don't just learn from my journals and the books I read. I learn from the patients I encounter. And my Lunch and Learn listeners, who have been absolutely amazing support system and drive a lot of the stuff we do here on the podcast and the blog and video and website, they're there to help school me when I need schooling. And thankfully, I needed schooling on this one. So sit back. I think this month is going to be a great one regarding getting our health together. I got some special guests lined up. I'm so excited for that. If you have not already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate me 5 stars. I love 5-star ratings, especially if you throw some comments in there as well too, so I can read some of your comments here on the podcast, or maybe like do a post, blog, just kind of shouting you out. So you guys have a great and blessed day, and I'm going to see you next week.